Just a second.
So we are on live, right?
Yeah, you can go.
Okay, wonderful. So welcome everyone to our Go Day media event, and we are here to introduce you one ongoing study, which is Every Women Study Low and Middle Income Edition. Today we are talking about the Bangladesh scenario, mostly in ovarian cancer scenario, and you know all just before the day, we will observe the International Gynecologic Ovarian Cancer Day. So here, let me introduce our panelists. We have Clara MacKay, the CEO of World Ovarian Cancer Coalition, and we have Francis Reid, Every Women Study lead. We have Dr. Mostafa Aziz Shumon, International Affairs Secretary, Oncology Club. And we have Professor Dr. Shana Parveen, Every Women Study country lead, and one of the famous oncologists here in Bangladesh. So welcome you all to our event. And as I'm saying that this event is jointly organized by CancerBD.net and World Ovarian Cancer Coalitions. So this is the time to know about World Ovarian Cancer Coalitions. And I would like to invite Clara MacKay, the CEO, to share his opening remarks. Clara, over to you.
Thank you, Adele. Thanks so much. And it's just an honor to be here with this esteemed panel on really, to mark really an important occasion for us to be working with our colleagues in Bangladesh to highlight some of the findings from the Every Woman study. And if I may, thank you, Adele, I would like to say a few words about the coalition before we move into the detail of the study. So the World Ovarian Cancer Coalition, our vision is a world where everyone living with or at risk of ovarian cancer has the best chance of survival and the best quality of life, no matter where they live in the world. And we are the only global advocacy organization focused on ovarian cancer. And we are very committed to driving profound and equitable change for all impacted by this disease. Next slide, please. Thank you. So just a little background, we are a global coalition. We work with 200 patient advocacy organizations from around the world. Our membership is very, very diverse. Many of our organizations are run by volunteers working out of their own homes from their kitchen tables. But we also work with the very well-established and larger organizations at country level. We have organizations in every continent, and they do amazing work, like CancerBD, really providing vital services and support and raising awareness of ovarian cancer at country level. So awareness to action, just a little more background, a little more context for the kind of work that we do, particularly when it comes to providing evidence about the experiences of women who are impacted by this disease. The coalition actually began as a result of World Ovarian Cancer Day in 2013. And the response to that initial World Day was so enthusiastic that it was clear that there is an opportunity to do more and do better for women all around the world. And so the steering group that established World Day got together and established the World Ovarian Cancer Coalition. Raising awareness remains a hugely important pillar to our work, and it underpins much of what we do. But we have done other work that is really delves very deeply and very uniquely into the experiences of women. Our first really big piece of work was the Every Woman study in 2018. That remains the largest ever global study of the experiences of women with ovarian cancer. We profiled in that study the experiences of over 1,500 women across 44 countries. That led to the launch of a global ovarian cancer charter, which sets out a really important framework for what we would look to as good practice and essential practice in terms of survival, improving survival and quality of life. We've tackled complex issues like access to medicines. Adele played such a hugely important role in that roundtable that involved representatives from the World Health Organization and all of the other leading agencies, advocacy groups with an interest in access. Today, we are also doing, as we speak, and Bangladesh is one of the countries involved, a cost of illness study, and that's looking at the cost to healthcare systems of ovarian cancer. But really importantly, it's looking at the cost to society and to countries when women are taken out of the home, out of the workforce, in terms of their contribution to the economy and to society. But we're really delighted, and this is what we'll speak about today, to be working in partnership with the International Gynecologic Cancer Society on this amazing study that we're undertaking in low and middle income countries. And we launched this study because when we did very uniquely into the experiences of women, we realized that we hadn't captured in the way that we felt was important the experiences of women in middle and lower income resource settings. And so on that note, I'm going to hand over to Frances Reed, who is the Director of Programs with the Every Woman Study and the study lead on the Every Woman Study in low and middle income countries. Over to you, Frances.
Thank you very much, Clara. And I'm here to give you an update on ovarian cancer and the Every Woman study and what we're seeing in Bangladesh so far, thanks to our esteemed colleagues who are here today. Just a very quick run through what ovarian cancer is. The ovaries are part of a woman's reproductive system, and cancer can develop in any area of that reproductive system, but ovarian cancer begins in the ovaries, which are illustrated here, and also sometimes in the end of the fallopian tubes. Other gynecological cancers or cancers of the reproductive system are endometrial or uterus cancer and cervical cancer, of course. Now, it's no surprise that cervical cancer is a huge burden in the world, and particularly in low and middle income countries. So this graph here shows the number of cases, and this is the number of deaths in 2020 from the different types of gynecologic cancer. But things are beginning to change with cervical cancer, and things are also beginning to change with ovarian cancer, but not in such a good way. Ovarian cancer at the moment has survival rates of less than 50%, 5-year survival rates of less than 50%, even in high income countries. There are going to be increases in ovarian cancer. Worldwide, nearly 40% increase by the year 2040 and nearly 50% increase in deaths. But you'll see from the figures below, Bangladesh cases will increase by 60% and mortality by 80% to the year 2040. This is in a time when cervical cancer burden is reducing. Low and middle income countries are being hit the hardest by these increases and are due to population increases and aging populations as well. So it's really important we begin to think now about the burden of ovarian cancer and what we can do to help women, their families and societies cope going forward. The standard of care has been platinum and taxane combination therapy, chemotherapy, together with surgery. They have been around for decades. These medicines are all on the WHO essential medicines list. They can bring good quality of life, reduce morbidity, and more is known now about the benefit of specialist surgery, of getting women to the right surgeons who have expertise in this area. That's really important. And we also know that it's no longer a silent killer, and I'll talk about that in a minute. We know more about the diagnostic tests as well for ovarian cancer. There is no screening program, though, as yet. There are opportunities with family history for risk reduction and prevention. Ovarian cancer can be linked to breast cancer, prostate cancer, bowel cancer, endometrial cancer, pancreatic cancer. Around 20% of women with ovarian cancer have what's called a BRCA-positive tumour. So a tumour that the mutated gene that they've either inherited or it's happened during their lifespan. But these women respond really well to some very new treatments called PARP inhibitors. And these PARP inhibitors seem to have wider benefit as well to women beyond. So there are new treatments coming, and very successful new treatments coming. But as with all of these treatments, accessibility and affordability are key issues, particularly in low and middle income countries. Quickly, symptoms of ovarian cancer. 9 in 10 women do report symptoms of ovarian cancer. Frequency and persistency of symptoms is important. Key symptoms to look out for: persistent bloating, increased abdominal size, difficulty eating or feeling full very quickly, abdominal or pelvic pain, increased urinary urgency or frequency. We now know that symptoms like these, when they're frequent and persistent, can be a sign of ovarian cancer. So the Every Woman study in 2018, it was an online survey shared by social media and our partner organisations. But as you'll guess from this globe, the majority of countries that took part were high-income countries. Indeed, 95% of our respondents came from high-income countries, and that contrasts with the fact that 70% of women with ovarian cancer in the world live in low and middle-income settings. So that was a big data gap. Our results, though, were very interesting and showed that there was a common set of issues, a common set of opportunities, but the extent to which each country experienced these was really quite different. So it's important to look country by country. And our results were published in the International Journal of Gynecological Cancer. So this new edition, we want to generate national and regional data on patient experience issues that'll help change practice and help advocate for change. There'll be publications at national and international level. We'll be able to provide some comparability with other low and middle income countries. And there'll be opportunities for women and clinicians to work together to promote advocacy efforts and really develop a collaborative voice. The questions cover family history, women's route to diagnosis, the effect of treatments on them, their choices about treatments, what impacts on those choices, their emotional, practical support needs, their information needs, and what's important to them in terms of priorities and their quality of life. So really important at directing where change can happen successfully. We have 24 countries currently engaged in the study. You can see they're spread geographically across the world and also by income status. Of these, 20 are actually now collecting data. Women can participate in a number of ways. We have 28 languages and 4 modes of participation. Women are invited through hospitals and they can participate by filling in a paper survey, by being interviewed by one of the clinical team, or they can fill in the survey online via a secure email or WhatsApp link. So really opening up accessibility for them to participate. Now, I'm going to show you some figures here. It's really important to stress this is not the final data, it's not cleaned, so it shouldn't be used, but it would just give you a flavour of how we can see things are panning out. As this morning, we've had 1,769 surveys on REDCap from 20 countries. We've already met our minimum study size, which is great, and we set each country a minimum sample size as well, which is usually somewhere between 70 and 95 patients. And so far, 10 out of our 20 countries have met their own minimum sample sizes, and some are continuing to collect data. Data collection goes on till the end of September. So far, we've had 72 entries that I've been able to see this morning from Bangladesh, and they're getting close to their minimum sample size of 95, and I'm very confident that we will achieve that very soon. 4 hospitals have been involved in collecting data in Bangladesh: the National Cancer Research Institute and Hospital, the Lab Aid Cancer Hospital, Delta Cancer Hospital, and Kurmitola General Hospital. I'm going to show you some sample data. Again, please bear in mind, this is not final data, it's just to give a flavour. So one of the important things in ovarian cancer is stage on diagnosis. Survival rates at an early stage are much higher, so stage 1 or 2. Survival rates for stage 3 and 4 are much lower. So as you can see here, Bangladesh currently is showing a lower proportion of women diagnosed with stage 1 or 2 and a higher proportion of stage 3 or 4. These haven't been tested statistically, so please caveats on using the data. But it's important to see there may be lots of reasons behind this. One of them being the type of ovarian cancer that women experience. What we're seeing so far is that Bangladesh actually has a higher rate of high-grade serous ovarian cancer than the other countries as a whole. And that is important because it is one of the more challenging ones to diagnose and treat. So some of the cancers are more commonly diagnosed early and at an early stage and are quite simple and straightforward to treat, but others are more complicated. However, one thing we have noticed so far is germ cell tumours in Bangladesh are much higher than any of the other countries that we've seen so far. So this is really interesting. Germ cell tumours are often diagnosed early, so it's going to be really interesting to look behind what is going on. Bangladeshi women so far are quite a bit younger than the other women in the study. The median age is about 7 years below the average, which is really interesting. Lots of women have caring duties. Over half have caring duties, and that's typically for children under the age of 18. And one thing that's really striking is the proportion of women in Bangladesh who are taking part in this study who live more than 5 hours away from their hospital. So the average for the study at the whole is around 12.5%, and in Bangladesh that's currently sitting over 40%. So that's quite a big impact on women and their lives as they look for treatment. In terms of education, quite a high proportion are either only educated to primary school or have no formal education. And around 45% are saying their income is below average for their country. So that's a little bit more than the study as a whole. But Bangladesh is doing well in terms of the amount of surgery and the quality of the surgery. So complete cytoreduction is about the amount of tumour that can be reduced and taken away. And the more that can be removed during surgery, the better the outcome. So actually, on the women that are being operated on, Bangladesh is reporting quite high rates, which is good. Levels of chemotherapy, a little bit above. Very low levels of genetic testing. It is available in Bangladesh, but at a very large cost. And you can see the contrast here. So post-diagnostic genetic testing, on average 19.4%, but that varies between nothing in Kenya, 57% in Argentina. This is opening up access to these new treatments I mentioned, but Bangladesh, just 2.8%. Routes to diagnosis. Typically, 2/3 of Bangladesh women haven't heard of ovarian cancer or don't know anything about it. And that is a sort of average figure worldwide, pretty much. And also in Bangladesh, a gynecologist is the first person women consult about their symptoms. And in Bangladesh, it was 45.8%. And that is true in most countries. But what is interesting in Bangladesh is the quite high usage here, over 10% who first visit a local healer about their symptoms rather than going to a medical professional. So that may be something to look at in more detail. And finally, women in Bangladesh, a high proportion of women in Bangladesh say their family finances have been affected to a great extent as a result of their diagnosis and treatment. And over a third say they now their household income has fallen to a level below that they need to live on. And Bangladeshi women's top 3 priorities at the moment are free access to diagnostics, free access to treatments, and the development of a screening programme. And I'll just say, as I always do on any presentation I do, a huge thank you to our country leads and our oversight committee. So Adele is on our oversight committee, and our country lead, Professor Pervin, is here as well today. Thank you very much. And to Dr. Mustafa Shumon, who's worked with us to get this study up and running as well. Without your help and support, this wouldn't be possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Francis, for your wonderful presentations and lots of informations, lots of statistics you have shared. And most of them are horrible. I must say, I'm also with you that these are not the final informations. These are not the final statistics. But at least we are getting a picture of the ovarian cancer scenario here in Bangladesh. And in this point, I want to share a few things you have shared with us in Bengali, because we have a few people. So it's a very open sessions, and we are sharing these sessions into our platforms. So I would like to share the information, a few of them in Bengali right now. So আপনারা যারা দেখছেন আমাদের এই সেশনটি বেসিক্যালি আমরা করছি কারণ একদিন পরেই গাইনোকোলজিক ওভারিয়ান ক্যান্সার ডে উদযাপিত হবে সারা বিশ্বে। তো সেই মুহূর্তে আমরা এই সেশনটি করছি উইথ দি কোলাবোরেশন অফ ওয়ার্ল্ড ওভারিয়ান ক্যান্সার কোয়ালিশন এবং ওয়ার্ল্ড ওভারিয়ান ক্যান্সার কোয়ালিশন ইন্টারন্যাশনাল গাইনোকোলজিক ক্যান্সার সোসাইটির সাথে একটি গবেষণা করছে, যে গবেষণাটি মূলত 30টি দেশে হবার কথা ছিল। এই গবেষণাটি এই মুহূর্তে 24টি দেশে থেকে তথ্য সংগ্রহ করে আসলে করবার চেষ্টা করা হচ্ছে এবং সেখান থেকে উঠে আসছে যে এই 24টি দেশের ওভারিয়ান ক্যান্সার সিনারিওটা কি। সেখানে আমাদের এই গবেষণার যিনি প্রধান ফ্রান্সিস রেইড, উনি যেটি জানাচ্ছিলেন খুবই ভয়ানক সব তথ্য, যে 2040 সালের মধ্যে বাংলাদেশে প্রতি 100 জনের ভেতরে 60 জনেরই ওভারিয়ান ক্যান্সারে আক্রান্ত হবার ঝুঁকি থাকবে এবং যারা আক্রান্ত হবেন যদি এই পরিস্থিতি চলতে থাকে তাহলে অন্তত 80 জন মানুষই আসলে আমরা তাদেরকে বাঁচাতে সক্ষম হব না। এছাড়াও তিনি যে তথ্যগুলো তুলে আনবার চেষ্টা করেছেন, এখন পর্যন্ত 76 জন মানুষের সাথে তথ্য আমরা নিতে পেরেছি। সেই তথ্য থেকে আমরা যেটা জানতে পারছি যে ল্যাক অফ ইনফরমেশন, প্রায় 70% মানুষ যারা ওভারিয়ান ক্যান্সার আক্রান্ত হয়েছেন তারা আসলে জানেনই না ওভারিয়ান ক্যান্সার সম্পর্কে। সো এখানে ইনফরমেশন ঘাটতি যেমন রয়েছে, এর একই সাথে আসলে বিভিন্ন ট্রিটমেন্ট ম্যানেজমেন্ট, হাসপাতালের অব্যবস্থাপনা সবকিছুই জড়িত রয়েছে। সো এই মুহূর্তে আমরা জানলাম আমাদের এভরি উইমেন স্টাডি বর্তমান প্রেক্ষাপট সম্পর্কে। এখন আসলে আমরা জানবার চেষ্টা করব বাংলাদেশের, আমাদের সাথে যুক্ত আছেন ডক্টর মোস্তফা আজিজ সুমন, যিনি অনকোলজি ক্লাবের ইন্টারন্যাশনাল অ্যাফেয়ার্স সেক্রেটারি। ওনার কাছ থেকে বাংলাদেশের সম্পর্কে জানবো এবং ঠিক তার পরপরই আমাদের সাথে যুক্ত আছেন প্রফেসর ডক্টর শাহানা পারভিন, যিনি এই স্টাডিটি লিড করছেন বাংলাদেশে। তার কাছ থেকে জানবো তার অভিজ্ঞতা। সো এই মুহূর্তে শুরুতে আমি আসলে ডক্টর মোস্তফা আজিজ সুমনের কাছেই যেতে চাচ্ছি, যে উনি যদি আমাদেরকে বাংলাদেশের পরিস্থিতি সম্পর্কে জানান। So I would like to invite Dr. Mostofa Aziz Shumon in this point to share his experiences over the years, because he's one of the prominent oncologists here in Bangladesh, I must say. So what's your experiences regarding ovarian cancer? What you would suggest us, and what's your actually opinion regarding this study? Yes, over to you, Dr. Mustafa. Sure.
So thank you, Adel. At first, I would like to give a special thanks to Francis and Clara, the two global leaders, I should say, who are taking initiatives to reduce the burden of ovarian cancer. So what you have shown over there, some findings are very new to me even. So Francis, again, thanks for bringing some new areas which need to be really addressed, that is really unseen over the years. So these are very interesting data. Only one issue I would like to highlight here, Francis. It was shown over there that the quality surgery, that means the complete cytotoxic reduction surgery, is quite high in Bangladesh. But the main areas is the most of the data are from the tertiary center cancer institute. That is the only the supreme hospitals. That's why you have seen such brilliant, wonderful data. But the real scenario was not like that. Only few patients get chance to treated like a person like Shahana, who has got this quality surgery. But most of the patients are really struggling to get this sorts of surgery. So this data may be not correct with the real scenario. That is the only area I want to highlight. Otherwise, it's a brilliant idea. So come to the real point, the ovarian cancer situation over there in Bangladesh. Like the data, here we are also struggling with our cancer registries, because we don't have a cancer registry. We don't have national data. So we do believe in the GloboCan, and like everyone else, we don't believe the data from GloboCan, because there is disparities between the GloboCan data and the real scenario. According to GloboCan, ovarian cancer incidence is around 12 or 13 in position, but really the global ovarian cancer data may be within the 10 top most cancer occurring in Bangladesh. We do have a cancer registry that is from the Cancer Institute. Even in this data, I could find that ovarian cancer are sitting in that position lower than 10 or 12 position. But again, I should say the ovarian cancer incidence and its burden is more than it is documented over the papers. So as the studies shows that the real challenges are finance. Yes, I do admit that the main challenge over there is finance. Most of our patients are late presenter because only for these financial issues. And number two, the lack of awareness, lack of education. Of course, this is a secondary issue. Second issue, most of the patients, the symptoms are so common that even with the higher income communities, they presented late because of this lack of information, lack of consciousness. So after the main challenge, after the finance, I should say that the awareness level also an area of challenge. And number three, definitely the access to care. That is our common challenge, and it is common for all kind of malignancy. But I do believe that these initiatives are coming forward. As the IGS is coming forward, the person like Adel has taken the initiatives for the awareness. Person like Shahana extending their all sorts of support. Organization like Oncology Club, they have taken their initiatives. I do believe that we could face these challenges and we could overcome the burden within the next few years. Thank you, Adel.
Thank you, Shon bhai. Thank you for your remarks. You said absolutely, you have picked absolutely the right proper problems, because finance definitely our main concern. And the second thing is you have pointed very well that lack of knowledge, because though we have a better financial stability, but we don't have proper knowledge, so that we always be late to get into it. Thank you very much. Now I would request Dr. Shahana Parveen to share us about the study. What's your basically what are the challenges to getting the information for this study? I would like to know from Dr. Shahana.
Yeah.
Over to you, Shahana.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening. Thank you, Mr. Adel, and thank you, Dr. Thank you, the Francis, and also the Clara and Dr. Mustafa Shuan for involving me in this study. And I would like to thank all my colleagues who were involved in the collecting this data. That is Dr. Farhana Haq Nila, Dr. Dilruba Yasmin, Dr. Farhana Ishrat Jahan, Farhana Kalam, Dr. Rahila Khatun, Dr. Rifatara, Dr. Rumana Afroz, Dr. Shushmita Bordon, and others. And because Dr. Shuman is rightly said that all these data were collected from our hospital, that is in Government Hospital, National Institute of Cancer Research and Hospital. Maximum data are collected from there, and other 3 centers that are the Delta Hospital and Labate Cancer Hospital, and also the Kurmitola General Hospital. All are the super specialty hospital, where these are the tertiary care hospital where the patients are referred there. So there is some disparity between the scenario of this data and the challenges face, the lack of interest of the patients to provide their data because they are exhausted with their disease burden and cost of the treatment and barriers to get the treatment, and loss of the documentations of the papers of the patients and inadequate the documentation also in our hospital. As because Dr. Shuman already he noticed that we have the cancer registry. So all the papers, what we have documented in hard copy, we have no soft copy due to lack of cancer registry. So this is the main problem what we are facing every time the patients are not interested to giving us the data.
Thank you.
And
Please continue.
And there are some we have learned from the participants in this study. That is the position of the female in our societies and their family, because their position should be improved and the female empowerment should be improved also. They are afraid of the recurrence. Always the patients, when they are asked any questions, they're afraid of their disease recurrence. And they are the only caregiver of the family, because when they become sick, then who will take care of their family? And not only that, they remain, their husband they left them, and sometimes they go anywhere. And when they're very much afraid, who will take care of their family and also their children? And for getting treatment, their family income is also decreased. That is one of the most important challenge of the participants, what they're facing in they're giving the data. And how the women of Bangladesh will be benefited in this study, it is my and also my colleagues who are involved in this, collecting the data, that the development of there is no direct benefit if we, through the media partner, if it is shown in the policymaker and they know that the ovarian cancer is increasing day by day, and the severity and maximum the patients, that more than 80% of the ovarian malignancy patients, they are presented to us at the advanced stage disease. And not only that, they are the maximum patients, or they are illiterate and their educational status is minimum, highest at the high school level, maximum patients, and they do not get they not go through the proper investigations and all the advanced, especially the advanced imaging, what's are necessary for the treatment purpose. And not also that the optimum treatment they cannot get, because there are the minimum, the quality surgeon for in these subjects, and not also only the surgical oncologist, also the medical oncologist and radiation oncologist who are treating this patient. So that is the most important challenge. And if through this the study procedure, if this is reach to the policymaker and they can know, then they can invest more in the oncology, this subject. So I think our patients will be more benefited. And by this, if they make the aware to the study, that what is the disease and what should be done, and when should they go to the doctors, and when should they take the awareness of this, it is more important. And it is why should we give more attention? Because there is life expectancy increases, the number of ovarian malignancies increases, people are knowing about this ovarian malignancy, and the adequate treatment, they will get this adequate treatment. And not only that, this is the most important thing is the maintenance treatment. What Francis showed in the paper, that maximum the patients, they do not get the genetic testing because genetic testing is not available in our country. What genetic testing we are doing, we are taking it from outside the country, minimum highest 2 to 3% of the patients. And if it is available in our country and minimum cost, so the patients get benefited and their life expectancy, also the survival will be increased. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shanapa. Thank you for your remarks. You have pointed absolutely right. The awareness is very low here in Bangladesh, and we can't get the proper benefit from this study if we are not go for advocacy or awareness process, because it's the policymaker who can change a little bit about regarding what we are facing in ovarian cancer scenario. So let's once again brief in Bengali to our Bengali audiences that has said what is saying about Dr. Mustafa Aziz Shuman has said that আমাদের এই আলোচনায় মোস্তফা আজিজ সুমন ভাই এবং ডক্টর শাহানা পারভিন যেটি বললেন যে আমরা তারা সবসময় আসলে এই ক্যান্সার ট্রিটমেন্টের মধ্য দিয়েই যান এবং তাদের যাপিত জীবনে আসলে এই প্রতিটা পদক্ষেপে আসলে এই পরিস্থিতিগুলো তারা ফেস করেন এবং তারা এই গবেষণাটি দেখে মানে এই চলমান গবেষণাটি দেখে তারা বলছেন যে এটা একটা রিয়েল পিকচারের দিকেই যাচ্ছে। আমরা অনেকখানি জানতে পারছি যে আসলে আমাদের বাংলাদেশে যে ভয়াবহতা ওভারিয়ান ক্যান্সারের সেটা কি পর্যায়ে আছে এবং ডক্টর শাহানা পারভিন সেখানে যোগ করলেন যে এই স্টাডি থেকে আমরা হয়তো আমাদের বর্তমান অবস্থাটা জানতে পারবো, কিন্তু সেখান থেকে কোনো সুফল আমরা নিতে পারবো না যতক্ষণ পর্যন্ত না বাংলাদেশের হেলথ পলিসি মেকার যারা আছেন বা স্টেট পলিসি মেকার যারা আছেন তারা এটাকে রেকগনাইজ করবেন এবং এটি শুধু রেকগনাইজই করবেন না, তারপরে একটি সমন্বিত উদ্যোগের মাধ্যমে আসলে এটিকে সামনের দিকে এগিয়ে নিয়ে যাবেন। তো আমরা সে কারণেই আমাদের এই আজকের আয়োজনে আমরা আমন্ত্রণ জানিয়েছিলাম বাংলাদেশের গণপ্রজাতন্ত্রী বাংলাদেশ সরকারের প্রধানমন্ত্রী শেখ হাসিনার ব্যক্তিগত চিকিৎসক অধ্যাপক ডক্টর ABM আব্দুল্লাহ স্যারকে, বাট আনফরচুনেটলি আব্দুল্লাহ স্যার এই মুহূর্তে প্রধানমন্ত্রীর সাথে রাষ্ট্রীয় কাজে জাতিসংঘের সাধারণ অধিবেশন ৭৮তম জাতীয় সংঘের সাধারণ অধিবেশনে যোগ দিয়েছেন, বাট তিনি আমাদেরকে একটি ভিডিও বার্তা দিয়ে গেছেন, যে ভিডিও বার্তাটি তিনি আমাদেরকে অনুরোধ করেছেন এই সেশনে তার রিমার্কস হিসেবে দেখানোর জন্য। So right now I would like to request our colleague Fedra to to share Dr. ABM Abdullah sir's opinion remarks with us.
আসসালামু আলাইকুম। আমি ধন্যবাদ ও কৃতজ্ঞতা জানাচ্ছি cancerBD.net এবং ওয়ার্ল্ড ওভারিয়ান ক্যান্সার কোয়ালিশনকে এই অনুষ্ঠানে আমাকে আমন্ত্রণ জানানোর জন্য। জাতিসংঘের সাধারণ অধিবেশনে মাননীয় প্রধানমন্ত্রীর সাথে যোগদানের কারণে আমি যুক্তরাষ্ট্রে অবস্থান করছি এবং সেই জন্য আয়োজনটিতে যোগদান করতে পারলাম না, তবে আপনাদের সাফল্য কামনা করছি সবসময়। একথা সত্যি, বাংলাদেশে ক্যান্সার রোগীর সংখ্যা দিন দিন বাড়ছে, তবে বর্তমান সরকার ক্যান্সার সচেতনতা ও চিকিৎসায় নিরন্তর কাজ করে যাচ্ছে। দেশের প্রতিটি বিভাগে গড়ে তোলা হচ্ছে ক্যান্সার হাসপাতাল। এছাড়াও প্রতিটি সরকারি হাসপাতালে ক্যান্সার ইউনিটগুলোকে আধুনিক করা হচ্ছে। ক্যান্সারকে রুখে দিতে সচেতনতার কোনো বিকল্প নেই। এজন্য চাই সুনির্দিষ্ট গবেষণা ও পরিকল্পিত কর্মকৌশল। ওভারিয়ান ক্যান্সারকে ঘিরে আপনাদের এভরি উইমেন স্টাডি সফলভাবে শেষ হবে এই কামনায় শেষ করছি। আসুন আমরা ক্যান্সার সচেতনতায় আরও সক্রিয় হই। যে যার অবস্থান থেকে কাজ করলে ক্যান্সার প্রতিরোধ সম্ভব বলে আমি মনে করি। সবাইকে ধন্যবাদ। আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
Thank you very much. I must say it to Dr. ABM Abdullah sir. Thank you for your remarks. And as you have seen that Dr. ABM Abdullah sir also recognized that the awareness is the key right now. And as the policymaker, they have introduced the divisional hospitals. They are trying to develop our system, infrastructural system, I must say. They're trying to upgrade the treatment procedures. But apart from that, I think still, though we are upgrading as a nation from a lower income country to a mid income country, but we are not yet having a health insurance for all, at least for the underprivileged peoples. So I think there is so many ways to put their interventions and to remarks which will help us to get a really sustainable and strong base of health system. So far, this is actually all.
I think we lost Adele there, so shall we maybe carry on? I know we and hopefully he'll be able to rejoin us. So
Excuse me. Can we ask a questions to Francis? Yeah.
Yes, do.
Yeah. There, our doctors, they have uploaded 76 documents, but probably it shows 72. One. Another is, we have some data because she told that within this September, she needs minimum number of data is 95. So we have more data in our hand that is in our hard copy. Can we include this within this September? I think we can manage this minimum the number of the data.
Yep, absolutely. We'll get back to you on that. We now have Adele again.
Oh, sorry for the interruptions. So what I'm talking about that.
So Adel, just a minute. So Francis, the
Sure.
deadline is 30th September this year, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I believe that not only from Rana Appa, you will get a number for study.
I will communicate with you. Yeah. To
Just
make this data statistically countable, I hope that you will count that number.
Yeah.
a minute. Just a minute. Yeah. Francis, one of our colleagues, Dr. Farhana Haq, please, Farhana Haq.
Can we just, if we deal with those questions maybe offline, that would be good, because we still have
Yes.
a video and questions from the journalists.
Yes,
But at morning, we couldn't uploaded the data from this morning.
Shanapa, I think this is the study related issues. I think later we could discuss in between ourselves. So let's carry the program. Kadil.
So we are getting so many commitments that we're gonna finish it within the time, and we will get the proper sample size from Bangladesh also. Right now, I would like to request Clara for her closing remarks. Clara.
Thank you so much, Adele. So really, I think at this point we've heard some really powerful information and data, from the study, and then heard an amazing context around that from those physicians and policymakers that are really concerned with and have insight into the structural challenges around ovarian cancer in Bangladesh. But at the heart of everything we do is the patient experience, and we would be remiss if we didn't take this opportunity to share some insight from and put a face to the experience of women with ovarian cancer in Bangladesh. So Adele, I think you were going to introduce the video, but we were just eternally grateful to Hapasa for sharing her story, and we would like to share that with you now.
আমি হাফিজা, বয়স 24, আমার জেলা হচ্ছে টাঙ্গাইলের, গ্রাম হচ্ছে ভপুর। আমার এই রোগের প্রথম লক্ষণ হলো প্রথমে অনেক পেটে ব্যথা পাইতাম, পেট আস্তে আস্তে ফুলে যেত, খাবার দাবার হাঁটা চলা এগুলাতে ঘুম খুব অনীহা চলে আসতো। আমাদের ওই ডিস্ট্রিক্টে টাঙ্গাইলে সোনিয়া নার্সিং হসপিটালে প্রথম ডক্টর দেখাই। সেখানে আলট্রাসাউন্ডের মাধ্যমে ধরা পড়ে যে আমার ওভারি হয়েছে। অনেক ভোগান্তিতে ভুগতে হয়, ডক্টর দেখাইতে পারি নাই, তারপরে সিট পাই নাই। অবশেষে অনেক কষ্ট ক্লান্তি, অনেক 12 দিন বাসা ভাড়া থাকার পরে অবশেষে ডক্টর দেখাইছি। ডক্টর দেখানোর পরও তারপরে 4 দিন পরে বেড পাইছি। শনিবারে এসে ডক্টর দেখলো, কিন্তু তারা কিছু বললো না। তার 2-3 দিন পর ডক্টর আসলো, এসে দেখি যে আমার অনেকটা পেট ফুলে গেছে। আমি 2-3টা বালিশের মধ্যে শুইতাম, কিন্তু তবু আমার মুখ দেখা যেত না। হাঁটা চলা খাওয়া এগুলা কিছু করতে পারতাম না। আমার শরীরে যে একটা মাছি যে বসছে, তাও আমি সেটা দৌড়াতে পারি নাই। তারপরের দিন ডক্টর আয়েশা পাইপ দিয়ে 7 কেজি পানি বের করছিল। পানি বের করার পরের দিন তারপরে আবার কিমো দেওয়া হয়েছিল। কিমো দেওয়ার পরে তারপর আল্লাহর রহমতে আস্তে আস্তে যখন ভালো একটা সুস্থতার মধ্যে আসছি। শুরুতেই আমি প্রথমে বুঝতে পারতাম না যে এত বড় একটা রোগে আক্রান্ত হয়েছি। ভাবতাম যে গ্যাস হয়েছে, তার জন্য এরকম পেট ফুলে যায়, পেটে ব্যথা পায়, সেটা ভাবতাম। এর জন্য আমি অন্য ওষুধ খাইতাম বা ভালো কোনো বিশেষজ্ঞ ডক্টর দেখাই নাই। যখন টেস্টগুলো করা হলো, তখন তার মাধ্যমে জানতে পারলাম যে এই রোগটা হয়েছে।
So this is not the story of her only. This is the scenario of Bangladesh, actually. So most of the people here, most of the women here in Bangladesh, they not even know what cancer is. They only know the cancer is a very dangerous disease, and which will guide you to the death very soon. But we would like to share that the cancer is not a disease like that anymore. This is why we are working for. This is why we are searching for. What are the gaps are available here in Bangladesh? Is not only Bangladesh, in the 24 other countries, and this is the first step to introduce the research and let them know the gaps. And the second stage, we will obviously work together with all the policymakers around all over the world, with the key persons to resolve all of those problems. And if we can defend the pandemic corona, if we can defend the other pandemics, so I do strongly believe, and we do strongly believe, if we work together, we can resolve these sort of problems very easily. That's my confidences, and our confidences, absolutely. So this is all about us. Now I would like to open the forum. If any journalist, any media persons would like to ask us anything right away, so you can ask us. And if we want to ask in persons, so me and Fedra is always available. We will definitely send you the press releases with our contacts. You can ask any one of us regarding this study anytime, and we will provide you the proper channels. We will connect you with the key persons like Fedra and other oversight committees members. So it's your time if you have any questions, right? So I'm seeing there are almost 12 participants, including our panelists.
We have a question from Anna Wilson. She's asking, is there a set date for when the report will be publicly released?
I think Francis.
Okay, we will be working from the end of September until about December, looking at the individual country results. But then next year, at the beginning of the year, we will look at the results as a whole, and this is when we will be able to find out more about the differences between countries. So whilst by the end of this year, Bangladesh will have a set of results of its own, what we won't have is how it sits in terms of the other countries. So sometime during next year, in the first 6 months of next year, we will also have that information. But it may be that the Bangladeshi team would like to work on a paper in advance of that. So during next year, you will see the results coming out. And we will have a formal launch of all the results in September and October next year at the Union for International Cancer Control and at the International Gynecologic Cancer Society. So the results will come out bit by bit and will be the starting point of further discussions.
Thank you, Francis. Any other questions from anyone? You can share the questions in our chat box so that we can relay like that. And thank you, Anna, for the question. I think we don't have any other questions right now. So let's move on with that belief that definitely we can resolve this sort of gaps. We can mitigate these sort of gaps with the assistance of all of the body, all of the policymakers. So we have to work together, and we will. So with this commitment, I would like to close our sessions for today, and thank you everybody who has given your time. We all know you all are so busy with your works. So it's a big thank you for you all. And if Clara want to join with me. So last a few words from you, and we will close this session after that.
Thank you. And just to echo your comments about thanking our panel participants, Dr. Shahana Pervin, Dr. Mustafa Suleiman, Francis, Adel, of course, Dr. Abdullah, who shared his video, and Afaza for her patient experience. That's just all been incredibly valuable. And I heard in almost every presentation, people either talking about why is this important? Why is this data important? And also, and Adele, you just touched on this about partnerships and working together. And I think for me, that is where the power in this work lies. It's about bringing patients, patient advocates, physicians, policymakers, advocacy organizations together, bringing them together and providing us with the information and evidence and insight that together, when we roll up our sleeves, we can start to pick off some of those, some of the easy things that might be able to be dealt with, and acknowledging some of those really bigger challenges that may take a long time to deal with, but are important that we tackle them. And I've heard some great thoughts today, and I can already see where we can go with some of this about putting ovarian cancer in the National Cancer Plan, ensuring that the data that goes into the Global CAN is accurate and up to date and full, really creating a context for understanding that the experience of women who have ovarian cancer, whether that be the challenge of just getting to a center to be able to access treatment, if you get there, being able to afford that treatment. So really thinking about how we can together in partnership and collaborations, both nationally and globally, ensure that every woman in Bangladesh has the best chance of survival and the best quality of life. So a heartfelt thank you to the panel and to the people who joined us today. I feel very, very motivated and optimistic about what we can do with the Every Woman study in Bangladesh. So thank you, Adele, for initiating this. We're marking World Gynecologic Oncology Cancer Day tomorrow. So this is, I think, a very fitting and appropriate way to mark that day. So thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.